here's your host, Alana.
Welcome back to the Alana Show, where public service meets powerful conversations. Today, we're shining a spotlight on someone who's truly dedicated his life to protecting others, Mr. Cacace, a U.S. Army veteran and cryptography specialist. I said that right, Al?
Cryptography, close.
Cryptography, close. A Minnesota little space there, drawn out. Specialist during one of the most volatile times in world history. Al's career spans from classified military intelligence work to successful private sector ventures. He's now using that wealth of knowledge to help stop fraud, defend against identity theft, and raising awareness about the threats hiding in plain sight. Calling in is Michael Castellano, a trusted tech advisor, digital forensic expert, and returning guest who's been helping law enforcement and healthcare systems navigate the wild west of AI. Now, Al, welcome, and thank you for your service.
Thank you, Alana.
And I mean that wholeheartedly. Over the weekend, I looked into both the Korean War and Vietnam and everything, so it's a wild west.
It was, yeah.
To say the least.
It was tumultuous.
Tumultuous,
another big word.
Yes. So, Al, you've had an extraordinary journey from cryptography in the U.S. Army to leading private investigations and fraud prevention today. What core mission drives all of your work?
Well, just like I would guess most people, I wanted to be part of something bigger than myself. But really what drives me is I have an insatiable appetite for information, not just what, but why, so I have to know why things are. In fact, I drove my teachers crazy. I
was just about to ask that.
I would drive, I encourage kids to do that. Drive your teachers crazy, ask
Amen.
a lot of questions.
Amen. Al, so glad to have you here. Anyway, that's the Alana Show, and no, I'm kidding. No, keep going. We're done. You guys are quick. You're a special breed, I'll tell you that much. Right to the point and then further. Go ahead.
All right. Well, I guess you wanted to ask me.
Back to private investigations and fraud prevention.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So you asked me to break down a couple of things about what are the top fraud schemes out there. Two that I want to mention are imposter scams and identity theft.
Well, no, I want to get back to your core mission that drives you so that the audience can understand, even though it clicked with me immediately. Correct.
Well,
so we talk about you. I didn't mean to interrupt. And then we'll get to question 2.
All right. Well, that need to know what and why is what drove me into private investigations. Right. Obviously, you need to know not just what are the facts, but how did they become facts?
Amen.
What's behind it all? And it's it's a puzzle. I love puzzles.
What is the unknown? What does this all entail?
The unknown is always someone calls you up and says, I've been frauded. I don't know who did it, but I lost a bunch of money. Or it could be just simply someone who's feels that their spouse is cheating on them, and then I got to follow somebody around and find out what's really going on and get to the truth.
Mm-hmm. And you have like a drive to do that. Did you? And you, like you were saying, I incidentally interrupted you, but as a child, you're always asked questions. But also, right. Did you would hear something, you're like, I need to figure this out, and then you'd ask questions which didn't really fit the structure of the education system at the time.
It's always the case. I don't think that's anything new.
Well, some people it's not the same, but yes.
Yeah, well, I would agree with that.
But you're still, that's a special breed. Excellent. So can you break down, with that said, you're clearly devoted to what you say just naturally instilled within you. Any family that would help, that kind of, with that foundation, or just real life experiences equivalent?
That's quite an insightful question, Alana. I guess, I'll tell you something amusing. Whenever I would watch TV with my father, let's say there was a Western on TV, and this Western is supposed to be happening in 1850. And you're watching it on TV, and the actor has a Rolex watch on. And he points that out to me.
Yeah.
So he would do that all the time, ruining all these movies for me. But
my dad never did that.
But that might be, one of the things that drove me into this.
That's interesting. I like it. Well, here, let me do this for you. Let's get you off the Rolex. Let's get you on time here. So can you break down one of the most fraud... Hold on, let me ask you this. Can you break down one of the most common fraud cases you've seen recently in Palm Beach County, and what can everyday people do to protect themselves?
Okay. Well, Palm Beach County is not unique in the United States, but I will tell you South Florida is the hottest spot for fraud.
We go to South Florida, yes.
In the country. But the two, I would mention two, imposter scams and identity theft. Imposter scams are, maybe you've heard this on the news, where somebody used artificial intelligence to take a child's voice off of Facebook and then have AI create a whole conversation out of that voice. It would convince you that it was your daughter speaking. And so these criminals will do that, call you and say, I've got your daughter hostage, and then they'll expect you to pay some, but they really don't have your daughter. What they have is an AI voice. That's an imposter scam.
So it builds pressure, and you pay under the.
Yeah, I guess the lesson is don't
Don't pay the money. Find out if it's real by calling Al.
Call yeah.
Call Al. That's what I do.
But the other is identity theft, and that is my passion, because identity theft let's say for people who are retired or retiring or have retired, whatever, they could lose their entire life savings, and there have been people who have been driven to suicide over this.
Oh, I can't imagine the amount of cases. I thought that too. I had that kind of odd intuition or something that, somebody, even younger generation people, you get put in a scam and they're like, hey, send this money or not. They're too embarrassed. They don't want to say anything, and they drive themselves internally crazy and commit suicide. So I think it's good for, people will say, hey, it's all generations. It's mostly older, but I think it's kind of just common human nature. When you get trapped in something, you feel embarrassed, you don't feel comfortable talking about it, it eats you alive.
Yeah.
So keep going.
As a matter of fact, you're right on to it, because the age group younger than 30 are the ones that are scammed the most.
That's what I would think.
The highest percentage of scams are committed of this type are committed on people under 30. And the reason for that is they're on their devices more than anyone else. They're always on their devices, and they have a higher probability of clicking on something that they shouldn't be clicking on.
Now, we're talking about identity theft here, which I think is very important.
Yeah.
So, and I don't want to jump the gun, but I think I'm going to repeat this a few times throughout this segment, as well as your website. How do people get a hold of you?
Yeah, R is in Romeo, letter R, 30, agency.com.
Pretty simple. Yeah. Awesome. Now, I want to drive this home. People need to know that they're not supposed to do what, or they should do what, as far as lock your credit down, just in case you do click on that stupid thing.
All right. Do you want me to go into how to prevent this now, or do you want to hear what the...
Well, here, let's break down the top 3 forms of fraud that our listeners should be aware of, to kind of scare them and instill in them, what could take place. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay. So of these, identity theft, there's bank investors, your investment accounts, your bank accounts. These folks who steal your identity will drain your bank account, steal your investments. They'll even take, or they can even take your Social Security.
Stop, Al, you're scaring me. Yeah. So how can everyday people protect themselves?
Yeah, all right.
Okay.
So we'll jump straight into that.
Yes.
Well, first thing, most important is don't trust links in your email, your text, on pop-ups that come up on your browser. It's important to give an example. A pop-up or an email comes in with a text that looks like it's from Bank of America, and you're tempted to click on Bank of America link because it looks like a Bank of America link. It may not be. All you want to do is go directly to your browser and go straight to your bank as you normally would to see what's going on. Mm-hmm. Do not click on the link in the browser, in the email or the text. So the next I would say is you have to freeze your credit bureau accounts. First, you got to set those accounts up. If you haven't set your credit bureau accounts up, set them up. because if you don't do it, someone may do it for you and put it in your name.
Oh, wow. That sounds like a headache.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, try getting that back after they take it. If you
Al,
don't,
who should they call if they...
yeah, call Al.
Call Al.
Well,
That's Romeo, our 30agency.com.
Yeah. So after you've set up your like with the agencies, I'll mention who the agencies are in a moment. You set up your accounts, and then you tell them to freeze your credit. Now, some of them have created this thing called a lock. This is very important. Do not do a lock. What a lock is...
I'm taking notes, too, yeah.
Yeah, right. A freeze is protected by federal law. When you freeze your credit, if your information is leaked somehow or they sell your information, they are liable. If you choose their lock product, that is not the case.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, so don't...
That's a scam. We'll get into that later. That's something I handle off.
It is absolutely a scam. So you want to freeze it.
Thank you for sharing that.
Do not lock it.
Do not lock, freeze. Freeze, do not lock.
Yeah. So I'm going to quickly mention what the top agencies are you need to get your accounts and freeze with. Experian, you all know about Experian. TransUnion is the second one. Equinox. Those are considered the top three, the big three. The next two that people usually forget or just don't know about.
I have no idea. I'm taking notes. I'm not joking.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Innovis, spelled INNOVIS. Innovis, and also NCTUE. That's an acronym.
Can you say that again?
NCTUE. Now you can Google these, and it'll come right up on the screen, and you can go in and set up your accounts there. Now, if you have securities, if you're into securities like investments and all of this, and you're doing that, then you may also want to do Checks Systems, which is CHEX Systems.
X as in X marks the spot.
Yeah, right. Checks Systems. So that's another one. And if you do those, and there are 50 credit bureaus, but if you just do those 6, you're in good shape. Now you set up the account and you freeze them.
That's it, folks. And trust me, this is way less of a headache than what you'd be seeing if you don't. Right, Al? Do they understand that?
Absolutely.
Usually not. That's why. I mean, I don't want to put you out of business, but I do.
Yeah, it would be a good day.
I know. We'll go to the Bahamas.
Do you want me to continue? I've got more advice.
Oh, no. Keep going, Al. That's why you're here.
All right. So just one more thing on the credit bureaus. After you've done all that, request your reports. Get your credit reports and review them. Make sure there's nothing looking funny in there. Next, if you don't have an IRS online account, if you don't actually have an online account with the IRS, go and set it up. You don't want folks who are in this country looking for a way to legitimize themselves using your IRS account. Set it up yourself for yourself so that no one else can do that. And if you have children, you can do it for your children as well.
Where do they keep that safe, that information, or how do you suggest doing that in case there's an accident or,
keeping
I don't want to go too
the login information.
Yeah.
I use.
Or, well, don't give any secrets away.
Don't give me secrets. Well, yeah. I hope that's
we'll
obvious.
Talk about it anyway. You know what to do. You're a family. No, but I think that's enough for that. Can you break down let's get into the. Are you done with that? Because I'm actually taking notes, so I don't want to interrupt you.
All right, a couple more.
Okay,
I think
keep going.
Would be important. All right, so there's a company called DeleteMe.com.
Okay.
Delete Me. I use them. DeleteMe.com. There are others. I happen to like this one. Delete Me. They don't pay me. I'm not a
I know, Al, you got to keep going.
Right, DeleteMe.com. They set up an account with them. It'll take a few months, but they will remove all your personal information off the internet.
Hold on, that's what? Slow down, Al.
Yeah. Delete Me.
All right, and you trust them. Delete Me.
Yeah.
All right, good deal.
All right, another one's maybe obvious. One more. When you're throwing away your trash, don't throw your personal information in the trash. Because the criminals will go into the trash, pull it out, and they'll be able to call the bank and say, hey, I got this account number. They may even get your utility bills.
And on the off chance somebody has done that, these other steps prior will help.
Exactly.
Okay. And not that I feel weird about that. No, but So can you break down the top 3 forms of fraud that our listeners should be aware of?
Well, like I said, the top is imposter fraud. imposter scams and identity theft. Those two, if you just stick to those two,
identity, you're good to protect yourselves. All right. So what do you suggest listeners do to protect themselves from becoming a victim of these scams, which we covered, unless there's anything further?
Maybe one more.
Okay, good.
When you, it's actually not a protection, but if you do become a victim, the first thing you want to do is file a police report.
Amen.
File a police, get that, and then if you know what the scam was, let's say it just seems to be limited to your bank, call the bank, try to straighten it out yourself. Mm-hmm. If it turns out it's broader and bigger than that, and you can't seem to figure it out, and you're getting sent in circles because they're not going to trust you. They think you're the imposter.
Now, to those who feel reluctant to do so for whatever reason, what do you tell them?
Call me.
Okay.
Well, no, I mean, there are certified.
That is brilliant, though. Yeah. I do. Or Romeo, which is R30agency.com. It's not Romeo spelled out, just to be clear.
Well, there are
R is in Romeo.
There are others who are certified to do identity theft restoration, prevention, and restoration. You can Google that, and you can find folks who are.
No, we want to call
to
you.
Do that. Oh, yeah. That'd be fine with me.
I trust putting you on here, so you're calling you. I don't know anybody else. Now, the other steps are necessary, but call Al. So, if I become a victim, Al, what should I do? So, I just found out, I'm feeling a little uneasy. I clicked on a link, or, things are getting weird text. What should I do?
Well, like I said,
call you.
Call the police first. Very first, just call.
What if I'm not certain, and it's I don't want to cert a whole thing, and then the police come over? Or do you really think, to what extent? You're thinking, I clicked on a link, I feel uncomfortable, and then I call a friend. They're like, oh, you're, over worrying or overthinking. Right. That type of deal. Not hey, I'm losing hundreds of thousands of dollars.
All right.
Yeah, take it easy, Al.
All right, good question. Let's say you clicked on a link and you thought it was Bank of America and it brought up the wrong thing.
There we go.
You even put in your login information, you realize it wasn't real. First I'd go into your bank account and change your password.
Okay.
Check. If you think it's more involved than that, call the bank and tell them what happened.
Okay. Well, you clicked on a link so that they're aware. Do they have submission forms for that? Hey, no. Especially if it's a similar bank or identical to yours.
No, they'll take all the information on the phone.
Over the phone?
Yeah.
Okay, good. And then always call them. If anybody calls you, hang up and call back.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Good advice.
Okay,
yes.
Yeah. I have parents. I most certainly do. All right, so what advice would you give a young person? Because I don't think people think of this. They're people who are retired enjoying life, don't really know technology, so forth. But I think when you become so familiar with technology, it also becomes almost the same thing, if not worse, in most cases.
Yeah, well, I would say let's assume that it's someone in high school, right? Mm-hmm. And it's considering, what am I going to do? I'm going to be maybe going to college, maybe not. But their passion seems to be fighting crime online. All right, the cyber security is a hot occupation. Right, it pays a lot of money, and there aren't enough people out there doing the job. So what does that tell you? If you're interested in that kind of thing, pursue it. What I would say is that the path would be. There are a couple of certifications you get. You can get them while you're doing the college degree, whether you're doing it or not. You can get these certifications. One is CompTIA, CompTIA. And then there's another one, Network Plus. And they're going to require you to set up a home lab, and you get some experience doing that, and then you get your certification.
Excellent. And I don't know how to say this, and I apologize for interrupting you, but I always looked at it as this was years ago, as the future isn't necessarily blow up blow up something. It's the cyber aspect, technology, kind of the mind, psychology aspect of things.
Absolutely, yeah. You see it.
It's murderous. It's absolutely, you shut this down on me even, I'm you freak out. Yeah. So, but I think technology, I think that's interesting. And then obviously, getting access to things. We're not going to get into currencies or anything like that, but interesting. Okay, keep going. So that was
all right.
profound.
So the next I would do, you get your certification. I would look around for internships. See if while you've got that certification, see if you can work for free, even if you can afford to do it, either part time or full time. Get that under your belt. The
Talking like an internship.
Law enforcement, insurance companies, they hire cybersecurity experts. So does most industry now, because the industry is afraid of people getting hacked. They're afraid of getting hacked. I mean, Sony got hacked. If Sony can get hacked, anybody can get hacked.
Yeah, the car company, Hertz, got hacked.
Hertz got hacked.
Happen?
You know, it's going on every day.
I mean, Minnesota, the city of St. Paul got hacked. I mean,
Yeah.
You can't be doing that.
Right.
It's nuts.
Right.
And
Right.
then why did the airline shut down? I think it is a very hot topic, even an underestimated one. And, I don't want, how would you encourage people to do that if they don't feel like they're really, able to or capable or?
I would not. Be frank. I'd be frank. Do not do it. If you don't, yeah.
We don't need you in this sector.
It's not that they don't need you.
No, I'm kidding. I'm teasing.
Yeah.
No, it's a nice way of saying don't do it.
Yeah. If you don't already know that that's something that's a passion for yourself, or if let's say you think it might be, stick your toe in the water, look at this CompTIA and see if it's something that you can do. If you could breeze through that certification or even do well at it, then you may catch the bug.
So, like we mentioned, like young people, and young people, if you're like, what advice you'd give young people if they're interested in cybercrime? But what do you think about all this AI?
So AI, that takes us back to the imposter scam that I mentioned earlier.
Like the muffling the voice, taking the daughters.
The AI. Well, AI in general, I use it. Okay, it can be used for a lot of good.
Amen.
I do have a lot of concerns about it, as I think everyone does. Is it going to get to the point where too many people become unemployed because of AI? What are those people going to be doing if they can't work? What's going to be available for them if AI starts taking away jobs? I think,
that's the least of my concerns.
Yeah, well,
I mean, right? Or is that?
Well, that's a real concern. We
don't see that, but
we don't know yet. Obviously,
so you don't know that. What about the job you have and what they could potentially take from your earnings at this point? Which is why, Michael Castellano, you on?
I'm here.
Hi, and then so we're going to bring on the returning guest, Michael Castellano. He's a digital forensics expert, AI strategist who's been working on the front lines of tech and law enforcement. He's back to give us a quick update on the latest risk tools and the AI world here with Al. So, Michael, what's one of the biggest concerns you see with AI right now when it comes to fraud or data theft?
Well, I think people just need to be aware of the fact that we've reached the point where if you see a video on the internet, it could be real, it could be AI. If you hear someone talking to you, it could be real, it could be AI. We're currently in a world where it's not 100% sure. So if something sounds off, you have to maybe assume that it could be AI at the very least.
Exactly. And it goes back to what Al said. Do you think those prevention methods, if you listening, it's shut down your shop from where you are and then, heed caution moving forward, correct?
Like with anything in life, it's always good to be cautious. And again, if something doesn't seem right or smell right or feel right, definitely take cautious steps. Some of these scams where they impersonate someone in need, like there's a dire situation, that's a red flag. If somebody's asking for money, that's a red flag. There's just a lot of situations in life that they don't happen every day, and if it's out of the ordinary, I think people would be very wise to question it.
Always. And then like Al said, freeze your credit, do all these things so that when that moment comes push to shove, it comes down to, are you going to give them $50? Are you going to give them a few thousand? Can we send Al after him? Can we send the, different agencies we have in law enforcement? And you would encourage people just to shut down, lock up their credit. It was lock, freeze.
Freeze, yeah.
Do not lock.
Do not lock.
Freeze. Okay. All right, good. So moving forward, and then are there any AI tools currently being used successfully by law enforcement or hospitals that give you hope we're headed in the right direction? You know, people fear it, but are there things that you could say that are comforting?
Well, there's a lot of companies that are using AI right now for fraud detection and fraud prevention. The banks are using it. Large corporations with a lot of data are using it. These are AIs that are built to scan patterns, and they look for something out of the ordinary. You probably had a situation where your bank has called you, or you've had some type of transaction flagged. That's most likely some type of AI system that's looking into your normal patterns and seeing if there's something out of the ordinary. So big companies are using AI for good, and from my perspective, I have not heard of too many cases right now where AI was used in a nefarious purpose to harm or hurt someone successfully. Those cases are very, very rare.
Good deal. But, always proceed with caution, and, I would freeze up your credit, and then just be aware. Michael, what would you say? Let's just say, somebody's under pressure. Maybe it's an AI video. We're not to holograms yet, thank God. But, somebody shows up. I know Al's here, right? No. But, I mean, in all seriousness, it's you over the phone, or it's a video of somebody else. If you even get that instinct, God-given instinct of this could be wrong, what do you suggest people do with AI to make sure it's not them, or to make sure it's real? Again, just to reiterate.
Yeah, I think the best policy is, when in doubt, question it. I'm sure everybody has someone in their life that maybe is a little bit more technologically skilled than they are, and maybe they feel comfortable looking into something. I have people reaching out to me all the time saying, hey, is this real? I'm not so sure about this. And sometimes a 15-second or 5-minute check into something can save you a whole lot of hassle. So I would just encourage people, when in doubt, if there's even an inclination that something's off, call people, share it with somebody, and see if you can get down to the bottom of it.
And don't feel bad about it. It's like, oh, no, I'm under pressure. I didn't want to make you think that I didn't think I cared. That's not the point. Figure it out, especially in today's world. It's more helpful than anything. And also, do you think, there should be an indication of, hey, what's your favorite color, or what did we talk about this day, that people in their family should keep with them to kind of throw off AI? AI can pull anything from the internet, or respond to anything. But would you encourage families to have some sort of, your favorite color is blue 22 or something because that was the jersey you wore, and things like that, to indicate, that it's not them, just to kind of offset that a little bit? I just thought of that. Will that work?
Yeah, that's a really interesting topic. I guess it comes down to personal choice. If you want to be somebody who's very private and secretive, then that applies in the AI world too. Don't give a lot of information, stay private, stay secret. If you're somebody who's already out there, and maybe you've already posted to social media, your videos are out there, your name's out there, you already understand that there's a lot of data out there about you, and so you just have to understand that you're in that world.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what it is. It comes down to individual choice. And for people who want to stay private, there's ways to do it. And for people who want to be a little bit more public, there are responsible ways of doing that as well.
Yeah, and I would encourage families to do that. Even if you are public, change up that color that you posted a couple years ago to pink rather than blue. So I would say, all right, gentlemen, just how I feel about rapid fire rounds. So it's time for that. What's one thing you think should be taught in every high school about security? Go. Al?
Oh, okay. For me, I'd say I'm going to cheat and say two things: critical thinking and people skills.
Excellent. Michael?
I would say ask a lot of questions.
Beautiful. If you had to shut down one scam forever, Michael, what would it be?
Most likely any of the
5
robocalls.
robocalls. All right, Al, and you.
Identity theft.
All right, good deal. And then put you yourself out of business. I love that about you. So what's one thing you never do online without double checking? Al.
I don't click on links.
All right, Michael.
I don't send large amounts of money without double, triple checking.
Very good. And I thank you both for being here today. And this conversation can and will go on for a few segments here. So stay hopeful. And then I would heed all this advice. So, Al, Michael, thank you both for your incredible insight and for your service to our communities. Whether through tech training or simply telling the truth, we all have a role to play in stopping threats before they strike. To our listeners, remember, fraud doesn't sleep, and neither should your awareness. Stay alert, stay informed, and stay connected with people like Al and Michael who are fighting for the safety of all of us. This is the Alana Show, where leadership meets real life. Until next time, thank you.